Hello, it's me, Rocket Man Olsen, back with another transmission. Yes, it has been a while, a long while, but I can explain. So it all started with me losing this valuable space rock that took me quite some time to get back. Then, when I was out in deep space, I got attacked by what I would classify as a Hentilian. Then, as I figured the worst was over, I got boarded by some very aggressively persuasive traders. They sold me this material known as Turdanium.
Okay, I'll buy!
And once they left, I had realized that the goods I had just purchased for hundreds of thousands of dollars was actually nothing more than intergalactic yak poop. So, if you wanted to know where some of your tax dollars went, I'm sorry. Now that you all sympathize with me, it's time for my yearly update. A man's taste in what he likes can change a lot in a year, and I think you'll come to notice that with my new top 25 list. You'll notice that a big difference with this list is that I actually played every game on the list this time. Seriously, 2019 Olsen? You put Wargroove up there, and you didn't even touch it until a month later. It was just as good as I imagined, though. So the way that I decided this is I put basically every game that was on the list last year, along with a bunch of new contenders that I really enjoy playing, and I decided that I was going to pit them up head to head. If I felt like one game was highly preferred over another, it got a point. And if it was too close to call or a loss, they wouldn't get a point. Then I would tally up the points and figure out who had more points. The more points they had, the higher they placed, therefore the better they performed. So, this list actually has to do with science and numbers, and also a big computer that I use in my spaceship. But first, before we start this list, I have some honorable mentions, of course. The first honorable mention is actually going to go to Power Rangers Time Force for the Game Boy Advance. I know this is a very weird pick and probably shouldn't be on anyone's top 5 list, let alone an honorable mention. However, Power Rangers Time Force for Game Boy Advance was always a game that I had really fond memories of. And I know as a kid, you can tend to find games that you really enjoyed back in the day, but then when you play them again as an adult, you absolutely hate them. I'm looking at you, Shrek 2. And Power Rangers Time Force, it was a lot of fun to play as a kid, and then when I went back and I actually played it again, I realized, wow, this is actually pretty good for what you get out of it. The character selection is awesome. You can run like a Nuzlocke of this challenge, where basically you just treat the Rangers as your your one-time deal, and you can't use any Rangers that you revive back. You can play as the Quantum Ranger. You get the time sabers and their guns. Oh man, I'm showing how much of a fraud I am with Power Rangers. Fun fact, I have the entire series on DVD, and it's apparently my favorite Power Rangers in the series, and yet here I am, blanking out on information. I am a disgrace. Up next, for another honorable mention, is 007 Nightfire. This is definitely one of the stupidest but most fun multiplayer experiences I think I've ever had, just throughout my entire life. It's so hard with the hit detection. Something that I hate about this game is the fact that when I shoot someone, they don't like flinch, or I don't get any sort of identification on my screen that says I hit them. So usually if it's local multiplayer, you have to look at your opponent's screen to see if it flashes red, and that way you'll know if you're hitting them, because if not, you will have zero clue until you're either eventually dead or they have died and you kept your eyes on your own side of the screen. You've got these incredible weapons. I mean, the arsenal is just fantastic. You have rocket launchers, you have golden guns, you have sniper rifles, you have remote controlled helicopters and tanks, and you have a phone that turns into a grappling hook, and you can grapple to certain parts of the map and get really cool stuff. If you're looking for the ultimate multiplayer experience that I had as a child growing up, and you want to try out this game, I definitely recommend doing a multiplayer free-for-all match with all your friends, and then going to Skyrail and just getting the weapon loadout that will give you the heat-seeking rockets, and then just camping each other from the other side of the map and then just shooting rockets. That was like one of the biggest peak moments of my childhood, and I freaking loved it, man.
Nightfire.
Also, this isn't an honorable mention. This is more like a number 26 to my number 25 list, so I guess it's kind of an honorable mention, but I didn't feel like it really belonged in an honorable mention section, and that goes to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I have not played this game enough to solidify where it goes, but it is very, very good, and I feel like with it being so new and so fresh and so out, I feel like it'd be a crime if I didn't talk about it at all. So Animal Crossing's New Horizon gets the infamous number 26 spot. And with number 25, the return of the Virtual Magic Kingdom. But this Virtual Magic Kingdom has brought along a friend, and that would be Pirates of the Caribbean Online. I'm putting both of these together since they are both online Disney games that you can play, and they're both available right now. They both have remastered projects where you're getting the full game experience now. Back in the day when you used to have to pay real life money to get some of the stuff, now the people who are recreating these games are giving you complete and total access for free. Everything works just as good as I remember. Pirates actually had a very fun way of doing battle. It felt very World of Warcrafty, but I mean, you're in a world with pirates, so it's freaking awesome. And the fact that you can create your crews and go on ships and just go into ship battles and stuff. I mean, this game was pretty freaking incredible. And the fact that it's not around anymore is a bit of a disgrace. I feel like if you're not going to do it as Pirates of the Caribbean anymore, you could easily rebrand it as something else. But thankfully, these fan projects actually have the green light from Disney to do this, as long as they are not making any sort of monetary profit off of it. So with that being said, please go and give these reborn Pirates of the Caribbean and VMK projects a shot. Pirates was relatively populated last time I played. VMK was starting to look like a little bit of a ghost town, so please, let's keep these things alive. That also goes for Toontown, but I'm not gonna, add a third one just yet. Maybe that'll have to be for next year. And then at number 24 is it's a mobile phone game. It's Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. And, oh, please hear me out before you attack me for this. Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is one of the most addictive mobile phone games I have ever played, and is probably one of the best. And I know that's going to sound really weird, because this is a mobile phone game that wants your money. They want you to buy in and then start literally buying in once you've already been bought in with a bunch of the free goodies they present you on a silver platter. It can be a little deceptive when you get so used to getting like 500 gems every day to then having to scrap for gems, for days and weeks on end until you can finally get 500 just to pull, 10 packs. And then the best you got was like a rare card that you already had 4 other copies of. It can be very disappointing at times, but I absolutely love Yu-Gi-Oh! I really do. And I know people are going to wonder why Legacy of the Duelist isn't on the list then. That's because I haven't played it. And on top of that, Duel Links has basically given Konami the chance to rebalance the game and not make it the big broken mess that it currently is. I love Yu-Gi-Oh! And I always will, but even as someone who loves it, I know it's got problems. It is like my alcohol-addicted family member who is only a few steps away from a bottle of whiskey. Look, they got a lot of flaws, and it keeps going back and making more flaws for itself. And then it has to rebalance itself in rehab and say it's all better, and I gotta believe it and love and support it regardless. But even I know in the end, it ain't good. But yeah, no, seriously, I'll actually... Heck, I will put my Duel Links code at the end of the video for anyone who wants to be friends in Duel, because I am so down. At number 23, we have my favorite 2D fighting game, which is Skullgirls. And by 2D fighting game, I don't mean Smash. Smash is more of a platformer fighter. Skullgirls is that Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat kind of fighting game. And it is wonderful. Something that has always scared me away from Street Fighter 2 and from Mortal Kombat is the button combos. And the thing is, Skullgirl has those button combos too, but the movement is just so well executed. The hits are flashy and quick, and it just makes for so much fun. Heck, even I can pick up my own little custom 3-hit, 4-hit combo that looks cool enough to me to want to keep going and keep pushing on. And I'll eventually find that one move that really helps me out and gives me a bit of an edge against my opponent until I find out that they've been playing ranked online all day and I just wanted to have a good time, and then I get that experience completely ruined for me. So thank you guys who are out there grinding this game away. I'm very intimidated by you. Number 22 is Dark Souls. We saw the stupid video I made. Alright, look, I'm not good at Dark Souls. I thought I was. I thought I was the king. But clearly, after a whole lot of humbling and a whole lot of frustration, I am not. I don't even really pick up this game unless I've got people ready to play it with me, like my brother Colin. And when I get together with him and I play it, it provides such an exciting and exhilarating challenge that I can't even really describe. It's very rare I find a game that will beat me up and then I want to keep getting back in and fighting it until I eventually get a win. And Dark Souls has somehow done that, and I think it does that even better when you have friends that are fighting alongside you trying to accomplish that same goal. So I really have to give Dark Souls credit for what it's done and for the enjoyment. And if you all are wondering why 2 or 3 or Bloodborne are on this list, it's because I haven't played it. Up next is Pac-Man World 2. Pac-Man World 2 makes another appearance on my top 25. The unfortunate part is that Pac-Man 2 has lost a few spots. It's still a phenomenal game. It's still just so much fun to play and so enjoyable to look at, and the music is so incredibly nostalgic to me, but also well done at the same time. Pac-Man World 2 is just one of the best 3D platformers of the first half of the 2000s, and you know, I will always hold a special place in my heart for that game, and I feel like no matter how much my list may change, I feel like Pac-Man World 2 just might always have a spot on that list. For number 20 is another 2, it's Pikmin 2. Pikmin 2, if we remember from last year, actually was underneath Pac-Man World 2. It was right behind. So they kind of just did a little switcheroo. But you know, Pikmin 2, whenever I look back at it, I always just remember all of the iconic moments of, you know, when you discover, you know, some of these different colored Pikmin and the things that you have to do to unlock them, and the multiplayer versus, and the product placement. All of it is just, it's just such an enjoyable and pleasant experience, and it's so nice to look at still, and the humor's good, and the charm is just, oh, it is fantastic. Up next at number 19 is Mass Effect 2. Yes, we have all not seen my Mass Effect 2 video because no one watches my channel. But Mass Effect 2 is up there because it is one of the most active RPGs I feel like you could take a part in, because it doesn't play like an RPG, it just has the RPG elements. It is definitely a better version of Knights of the Old Republic, regardless of what people say, and you know, it's definitely the best one in the trio, and the quadrilogy for that matter. Just from gameplay that I've seen, you know, I can tell that it was definitely an improved version of 1, and then 3 was just like, I'm 3, I don't need to follow rules. Next at number 18 is Super Mario Maker 2. This game is so much fun when you just want to relax. It's a nice, enjoyable game, full of stupidity, but a very pleasing aesthetic. Granted that you're not playing on the new Super Mario Bros. Aesthetic, because that one is actual garbage, except for the movement. The movement is fantastic. What's great about Mario Maker 2 that would definitely put it on this list, compared to Mario Maker 1, which would have never even stood a chance before this game came along, is the multiplayer. The multiplayer, the online, is still bad. It's still awful. But when you can get a group of friends together and you know that we all have like a decent connection, the game runs great and it's so much fun to play and mess around in. and just to make your own levels and send it to your friends and then have them comment, what is wrong with you? Why would you do this? It's a great feeling. It's absolute chaos, but absolute peace and serenity. It is both yin and yang, and I love it so. Number 17, we got another spot that's sharing a space. That'd be Mario Kart Double Dash and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This is a big shocker on this list because Double Dash was high up on my list. I think I had that placed at like number 6. So to be at number 6 and be bumped all the way down to number 17 next to one of your siblings, that can't be too good. And I think some big realization that bumped it down for me is the fact that there are only 16 tracks. When I was a kid and I saw the All Cup had 16 tracks, I wanted to die. I thought that was so long and that was too much, and I wasn't going to be able to marathon through all of that. And then as I got older and became a grown man, I realized, wow, 16 is really nothing. It is absolutely not enough. And I don't know if it's because I've gotten spoiled or it's because I've just gotten so much better at the tracks that I just go through them so fast and I don't even really realize it. So yeah, I gotta move it down. But I still enjoy the mechanics more to Double Dash. I still enjoy the team-up mechanic to Double Dash, and I enjoy the item choice more than in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has some fantastic things going for it. Don't get me wrong. The reason that they're both on my list is because they're wonderful games. They're absolutely wonderful. I mean, granted, I put Virtual Magic Kingdom on my list, so shut up. All right, this is a quality game. They're both quality games. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has the best battle game of all time in Renegade Roundup. You can't even dispute that. Shine Thief is not better. Ba-Bomb Blast is not better. None of the balloon battle games are better. Renegade Roundup is absolutely just the peak. The graphics obviously look phenomenal on it. There's so many courses to choose from, so many characters to pick from, so many kart customization options. Like, yeah, this game should be better, but I love the mechanics of Double Dash, and because of that, Double Dash has that fighting chance. Number 16 is SSX Tricky. As you can see, a lot of people that were, a lot of contenders that were up on this list, pretty decent spots are getting bumped down. SSX Tricky, still sick. Sick soundtrack, sick combos, sick characters, sick maps. This game is the definition of Fatal Disease because it's just sick all around. There's nothing bad about it. If I had to add something different from the stuff that I said about SSX Tricky last time I made a video like this, I would say that you can watch a behind the scenes video, and that's pretty cool. I don't know if that's only for PlayStation. No, PlayStation does jukebox in that. You can watch it on GameCube, but you don't get the jukebox. But yeah, also PlayStation gives you some extra moves because of the additional button, unlike the friggin' GameCube who decided that they only needed one Z button. And at number 15 is Star Wars Battlefront 2. No, not that one. Not even close. Why would you get that out of here? So the PlayStation 2 Star Wars Battlefront 2 is definitely the best one. I would say Star Wars Battlefront 2 is the best Star Wars game of all time. Granted, I have not played Jedi Academy, so I can't really say on that front. But what I can say is from all the Star Wars games I played, and I'm talking about like Age of Empire, I'm talking Battlefront. I'm talking Battlefront 1, I'm talking Episode 1, Starfighter, Pod Racing, the Lego Star Wars games, all that. Heck, even the new refurbished Battlefront 1, none of it holds a candle to Battlefront 2. Battlefront 2 gives you so many maps, so many different situations to play out, so many cool characters you get to play as. Like, I didn't think I wanted to play as Ki-Adi-Mundi, but he's in the game, and he's a lot of fun. Granted, every Jedi's fun. I don't think you can find a single Jedi or special character that isn't fun. Number 14, it's Nintendo Land. Very funny story. Back in my sophomore year of high school, Joe Pro and I shared a class. It was math, and that just has a bunch of stories in itself. But we're not going to get into that. What's important is that Joe Pro and I were able to get out of school early. And sure enough, school was running late for us. I don't know why, but E3 was going to be happening. So my mom picked us up from school early because I didn't have my driver's license yet. And we went back to my place and we watched E3. And we were so excited to see what they announced, because I think the year before was like Mario Kart 7. Like, it was a bunch of really insane titles. I think what was it? Didn't Ocarina of Time remaster get announced too? Like, nope. Nintendo just had a nutty lineup. It was wild. So I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, what's coming this year? And we got really excited and we watched the whole direct and we're like, here it is, the final announcement. And then it was Nintendo Land. And we just sat there in a quiet frustration that we had waited all this time, and their big reveal was Nintendo theme park game. Now, mind you, Nintendo theme parks today, that's hype. Back in like 2012, when you opened with Pikmin 3, and we were waiting for something bigger, that was not it. That was absolutely not it there, buddy. And then I don't know why Nintendo thought that was okay. But I'll tell you, after playing it, wow, that actually deserved to be a final reveal game. All the games are fun. Everything looks beautiful. I just wish there were more games to play because I couldn't get enough with it. I spent countless amounts of hours with friends playing the Metroid game, Mario Tag, Luigi's Mansion. Those are the good ones. Mainly, I mean, the Donkey Kong one's really good, but also it's single player, so you can't really play that. The Zelda ones and the Pikmin ones are just too easy. And then F-Zero, I mean, you could play it by yourself, but it's not like you're going to want anyone taking turns on that one. But just those games alone were just amazing. They were so fun. And now that we might not ever have Nintendo Land again, it really makes me miss when I was able to get friends around and play it. Especially now that a bunch of them have moved on to other places, and I'm literally not even on the planet anymore. I would just love to be able to have my friends all come together again and just be able to play Nintendo Land one more time. Number 13 is NCAA College Football 13. Not 14, because I didn't play 14, so that's why it's not on the list. But NCAA 14, it's probably one of the best football games of all time. Definitely, I love the different game modes about like making your character and then being in high school and then having to get drafted by a college and then become the freaking Heisman boy. I mean, that's freaking cool. Getting the freaking be in the franchise mode where you're playing as a coach and you gotta draft your players. I'm freaking good at that stuff too. I've got quality teams still. I think I've won the BCS Bowl twice, and I've won a bunch of other bowls. I'm trying to win it 4 times at least before I eventually am like, all right, I'm done with this game forever. But NCAA College Football 13 has always given me more and more to go back and revisit. Whether it's me playing the single player, which is really addicting and fun with all the micromanaging, or my little brother challenging me again because he thinks he's going to win, only to get his butt served 68-3. At number 12 is Breath of the Wild. It's still amazing. It's still very enjoyable. It's gotten moved down a few spots, but that does not mean I love it any less, because it is glorious. And it will be a game that I will cherish for a very long time and appreciate for all the hard work and effort that's gone into it. And the more I think about this game, the more excited I get for Breath of the Wild 2. Even though I still don't fully feel like I'm ready for the next Breath of the Wild game, at the same time, I'll probably be ready for it by the time it comes out. And then coming in at number 11 is Pokemon Coliseum. We are now entering the Pokemon zone, Pokemon has kind of oddly been behind when it comes to what an RPG should be doing. That does not mean that they have not made some incredible moments or really cool stuff happen. Especially with Coliseum, capturing other trainers' Pokemon was just like a thing I always wanted to do as a kid. Whenever I would see like some random NPC trainer that just happened to have all 3 starter Pokemon and I wasn't able to have it, that would make me so jealous when I would just want to catch it and I wouldn't be able to. It was so frustrating. But this game is all about doing that. Granted that it's a shadow Pokemon, because if it's not a shadow Pokemon, you can't catch it. Don't even try it. Lord knows I didn't. But the world is so interesting. The characters are so cool. It's a much edgier take on Pokemon, and the themes felt a little bit more mature than normal. I mean, it's still Pokemon, so it's not going to be super mature, but at the same time, it was just really cool. It was a cool world to experience. I never got to play Gale of Darkness, but I heard that was really good too, and I want to definitely give that a shot at some point. But Coliseum, it was just so exciting, and it was hard. I mean, even as an adult, I think the one gripe I would have about this game is having to constantly go into Coliseum battles to get enough EXP to challenge the final boss, because if you don't grind, you will lose. And if someone does beat it without grinding, then I am mad at them, and they're probably a speedrunner. Coming in at number 10 is Pokemon Ruby, my very first ever Pokemon game. This is my favorite region with my favorite starters. And, I don't think it's necessarily because it's my first Pokemon game. There's just a really weird but like unique feeling I get when I see the starters and I see the place and I hear the music. It's something that like gets me really excited to be playing a Pokemon game again, and that's something that a lot of other titles have had a tough time being able to rekindle. So the fact that Ruby was able to constantly do that again and again, no matter how old I am, it's so cool. And you know what? I may have to do another Pokemon Ruby run at some point. Coming in at number 9 is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. This game was in like the back of the pack in my old list, and now it's shot up to number 9. This was, when I was thinking about my list, I would typically have moments flash in my head. And yes, while there are unfun Knuckles stages, and unfun Tail stages, and unfun Rouge stages, and unfun Eggman stages, I think I'm just brainwashed to only think about the cool Sonic and Shadow stuff along with the Chow racing and the Chow karate. It's so cool. Heck, even when I think about this game, I think of the fun Knuckles stages. I really enjoy Pumpkin Hill, and there's something really enjoyable about going around Meteor Herd trying to go and find all the stuff. And Meteor Herd has one of the coolest songs I think I've ever heard throughout the entire Sonic series. But wow, I like it a lot. And then number 8 is the original Super Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers is a really fun fighting party game. It's definitely one of the floatier ones in the bunch. But you know what they say. They say if it floats, you're eating healthy. So that had nothing to do with Super Smash Brothers. While it does have a small roster and a small set of stages, the fun cannot be beaten. I think what will always keep a game lasting the test of time is how good its mechanics are, and Smash 64 has them. The controllers for the system it was on, atrocious, but the mechanics themselves, they are just so fun and so addicting. It's so satisfying to pull off some of these really cool, crazy combos, like when you watch those combo contests and just see some craziest stuff people do. I mean, it is truly a wonderful game, and because of the way Sakurai likes to make his Smash Brothers games, there will definitely not be a Smash game like it. What game will this trainer send out next? Oh wow! It's Pokemon Stadium! Yes, so coming in at number 7 is Pokemon Stadium, a very iconic Pokemon battling game. This one goes out to all the kids who couldn't afford 2 Game Boys, a link cable, and 2 versions of Pokemon. This was for the kids who wanted to just settle it and battle one-on-one and then just pick their rental Pokemon. No matter what garbage moveset it had, they were going to work with it because it was their favorite. This is the game that actually made me become a huge fan of Starmie. And then when I found out that if you just use Slash with Scyther, like 99% of the time it's going to be a critical hit, I was like, oh, I should always have him on my team. And then you just go and make some of the most busted teams ever. And then my friend Tim found out about Alakazam, and ever since then I have been salty about it, and I hate him, and I want to make sure that the next time we fight, I find the perfect counter to beat the crap out of Alakazam, because I will not let that happen again. Coming in at number 6 is
Mario Party 3!
You gotta love that sound. So Mario Party 3 has made the list again. It's the best Mario Party in the series, best mini games in the series. Pretty solid selection of characters, obviously not as big as some of the later rosters, but it gets the job done quite nicely. I don't think there is really a character that you look at that roster and you go, man, I really wish so-and-so was on that list. Because, like, come on, you look at Mario Party 7, like, who was really playing as Boo? I think if you had to add a character into Mario Party 3, it would be Koopa Kid, who is the best variation of any Bowser, and that's undisputed. I think if you were to put me in a debate where I was having to argue who the best Bowser was, you would easily see, from my point of view, that Koopa Kid, he's the best choice. He's the best choice, undisputed champion. I mean, what a Chad, what a stud. Love him for life. Alright, now we are down to our top 5, and here is a game that is breaking the mold and doing big things, and is something that I was very passionate about throughout the rest of 2019 up to now, and that is Fire Emblem 3 Houses. There is so much I have to say about this game. I feel like if I ever wanted to make another video about Fire Emblem 3 Houses, I could make like a solid 10. There's just so much that I can make about it, so I'm gonna try to keep it nice and condensed. I love the fact that you have to pick between 3 houses. I always love the fact that when you have to fight against other people that you could have been friends with or could have loved, I think that's great. I think it adds a lot of tension, it builds a lot of stress, and it really makes you care about what's happening and really humanizes everyone. And, you know, I kind of like that sense of guilt when it comes to killing people. I love the fact that they added battalions and monsters. I think that's so cool that you can have some bosses literally just turn into a monster. It's up to you to lead your army with their battalions and make sure that you down that monster before he does anything bad to your team. Also, the fact that each side has a different ending with a different boss. Something I was concerned about was that some sides might converge into the same path, or they might all go back into the same path near the end of the game, and then I was going to be like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. But no, they all go down different paths. I also think it's cool that there's actually 4 paths in the game. There's not 3, even though it's 3 houses. But, you know, I mean, it's sending hot anime girls out to war. What else is there? And then you get to marry one in the end. And if you had to marry one, don't marry Petra, because I already did, and she's taken now. Now, number 4 goes to Super Smash Bros. Melee. When you gotta put Melee up to all the other games on this list, I was just like, dang. If I was ever just hanging out and people were like, yo, what game would you want to play right now? It was Melee. Except for the other, 3 games that are above Melee. But Super Smash Bros. Melee, it's so fun, it's so fast-paced, I'm so bad at it, but it's something that I could literally spend pretty much the entire night playing in a rotation with people, and I feel like I'd be able to walk away feeling like I learned something new and had fulfillment. No matter how many times I played on like the 6 viable stages there are, no matter how often I would have played on those or picked Luigi over and over and over again, it still feels like every experience and every fight is just so unique and it's so special in its own right. Number 3 is Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country was originally my number 2, but it has been toppled. Donkey Kong Country, it's beautiful. I mean, what else do I say about this game that I haven't said yet? How many times have I said that in this video? I feel like I keep saying that. I really need to come up with other stuff to say besides what else can I say about this game? But we're already this far in the video. I've recorded for quite some time and my voice is starting to hurt if you guys can't hear that yet. And number 2 is Super Mario World. This was the very first game I ever played as a human being. You know, I used to watch my dad play this in Donkey Kong Country all the time. And Donkey Kong Country always seemed a bit more intimidating, and I think that's because of the graphics and the art style. Also, that game over screen petrified me, so I always wanted to make sure my dad never died in the game, or else I would freak the heck out. At least Mario World, it was a pill that was a little bit easier to swallow. So Super Mario World was definitely easier for me to be bold enough to pick up the controller and start playing. For my number 1, it didn't change. It's still Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I mean, you know, I think I'm really starting to get the hang of this game now. I feel like this is a game that I've been able to quote-unquote feel myself in more than any other Smash game. It's the one where I feel like I have the most capacity to pull off some of the sickest combos of all time. It's a game that's probably the best looking in the series, along with what I would say is still probably the perfect balance of mechanics, unless they were to create another Smash Brothers game that tilted a little more toward Melee. Look, you know, if this was like a political spectrum and Melee was one side and you know, Brawl was the other, I would be like 75% of the way towards Melee. I'm not fully committed to it, but you know, it's pretty close to there. This game still has some defensive mechanics to it that I'm not a fan of. But it's still much more rewarding for aggressive gameplay. The fact that it's getting so much support and love with the DLC is incredible. I didn't even think I was going to like Terry. I kept thinking when people would say, "Oh, are you ready for Terry?" I kept forgetting he was a guy that was even getting in the game. But after I played as him, Terry's one of my favorite characters to play as. His combos are just so fun to pull off, and it's so exhilarating when you get the hits on him, or when you pull off the nasty Buster Wolves or Power Geysers. Oh, I freaking love Terry, dude. He's so awesome. And then Byleth, you know, a lot of people hated that, but, you know, I was cool with it. I mean, you saw how high I put freaking 3 houses up on my list, so Byleth was cool. Beautiful music, beautiful gameplay, beautiful maps, beautiful characters. Everything's beautiful except for Hero. I hate Hero. He can go die in a fire, and I would not miss him. And that's all I have to say. So, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the sexiest game alive. And there you have it. Another list in the books. We've done 2019, and now 2020, and who knows what 2021 is going to look like. I don't know. I'm just going to keep playing games and enjoying them. And I suggest you all do too. Now obviously, this isn't the end for me, because I'm posting here again. It's definitely taken me a while, because there's a lot of mission interference going on. But I will always be trying to come up with new stuff to give, because this is a lot of fun, and I enjoy it, and I hope you all do too. And if not, that's okay. If I'm even entertaining, like, you know, 2 people, two people, I'm cool with that. So thanks for watching. I am going to go and see how much money I can get for all of this intergalactic yak poop, or should I say, turdanium. I'll see you all later. Hey everyone, thanks again for sitting through my top 25 list again. If you sat through the first one and then just sat through this one, I really appreciate your support. So anyway, I have more stuff to go and take care of. Life has been very crazy, so I'm gonna go and take care of that. But thanks for sticking around. Love you guys.
かけたまま